Lesson 7.3 is complementary and supplementary angles. We're going to do both the definitions of these and then also equations with these today. So for the first things that we need to do is figure out what are complementary and supplementary angles. Complementary angles are two angles who add up to give you a sum of 90 degrees when you add them together. Quick little way to remember this, complementary starts off C-O-M-P-L. You'll often see me shorten it kind of that way. And if you close up the C, you've actually created the number 9, kind of extend that line down, and the O next to it reminds you that you have complementary. Now, this model, the picture that's here, actually has the two angles adjacent to each other. They share the common vertex and a common side, but these are allowed to be two separate angles as well. So we'll see that shortly in a couple examples. The second relationship that we have is supplementary. Supplementary happens if the sum of their measures is 180. So supplementary, you can remember that creates a straight line, which is the S in here. Or if you're looking for a little hint here, close up your S, you get the number 8. So if you put a 1, 8, and then you can close up this U, it adds up to be 180. Again, this one shows it as a linear pair, actually. So linear pairs are supplementary. This has a common vertex and also an adjacent side here. So you can have them together like this, or they can be two separate angles. But either way, they add up to be 180 if they're supplementary. So we're going to take a look at a couple here and classify them. So in this first one, we have 1 and 2 are the two angles we're looking at. Noticing they form that straight line. These are going to be supplementary. You're welcome to shorten that if you would like. For these two angles, they're separated, but if I do 60 plus 30, I do end up getting 90 degrees, which tells me that these two are complementary together then. In the next one, I have 85 and 90. If I add those together, I get 175. So that does not fit either the complementary nor the supplementary. So we'll call this one neither. And the last one, I have 75 and 15. And if I do add those together, I get 90. So even though they're separated, it doesn't really matter. They're still complementary. One of the things we can do is find complements and supplements for our angles then. So keeping in mind the complements are going to add up to be 90. The supplements are going to add up to give you 180. So if I have a 42 degree angle, the complement for that is going to be 48 degrees. And I find that by doing 90 minus 42. To get my supplement, I'm going to take 180 and take away that 42. And be careful, a lot of people have a tendency to just subtract the 40 and then subtract 2, or subtract the 40 and put 2 back on there. So just be careful when you are doing your subtraction here. So 180 minus 42 is going to give you 138 degrees. For 147 degrees, there is no angle that could be a complement here. So that's not applicable, so NA here, because you can't add anything to this to make it to be 90 unless you have a negative number, and that's not going to work. For our supplement, we're going to take 180, subtract away the 147, and that's going to give us 33 degrees. For the complement on this last one, you want to go ahead and do 90 minus 28. That's going to give you 62 degrees. To do the supplement, you're doing 180 minus the 28, which is going to be 152 degrees here. On the next page, page 8, these two angles are complementary. Write and solve an equation to find x. So complementary means that we're adding up our two angles and it's got to equal up to 90. So we're going to write a blank plus a blank equals a 90 here. My first angle I see is 2x. The other angle is 28. So I'm going to add this and solve my equation. Subtracting 28 on both sides, that leaves me with 2x is equal to 62. Dividing through by 2 to get the x all by itself, I get 31 degrees for x. This next one, it says these are supplementary, so write and solve an equation to find x. So blank plus blank is equal to 180 then. My angles are 123 and 3x. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract the 123 on both sides. And that's going to give me 3x is equal to 57. Dividing through by 3, I get that x is equal to 19 degrees. For these ones here, find the value of x. So I notice this is a right angle here, and this side would also be a right angle. So these two are complementary. So I'm going to have x plus x is equal to 90 degrees. So that's 2x equals 90 degrees. Divide through by 2, x is equal to 45 degrees. For these two angles here making up this side on the scissors, they're supplementary. So I'm going to have 8x plus 116 is equal to 180. Subtracting away the 116, 8x is equal to 64. Divide through by 8, and I get x is equal to 8 degrees. That's it then for lesson 7.3, complementary and supplementary.